The success of any endeavor is always about having the right people in place. This cohort of 8 faculty will enable us to meet the highest aspirations of the SNF Agora Institute.
For me, the big question is, how can democracy survive and thrive in the United States, at a local level, national level, and globally? What we're finding now is democracy feels fragile.
I'm trying to answer a lot of questions that have to do with the long-term historical and economic transformations that have made it more or less possible for women to participate fully in public life.
Power concedes nothing easily, and it certainly concedes nothing when it comes to questions of inequality and race and racial difference.
First, we need to think about what type of democracy we want. So I look at partisanship and polarization and thinking about, sort of solving this increasingly radical partisanship that we see in our politics.
We find ourselves in a world where there's disinformation, there's misinformation. There are all of these flows that we have to begin to think about how they affect democracy, and the information associated with elections, I think, has been crucially important.
I am trying to answer how people in civil society, how organizers can be more successful, especially in authoritarian contexts when it's very difficult to do collective action.
We think about all the kinds of problems that we face, things like climate change, low education, immigrant health. All of them involve lots of people who are working to solve them all over the place right now. And so the core question for me is sort of how can we bring these folks together to work together to come up with better ideas and better solutions to these kinds of problems.
When we think about democracy in its original formulation, it was about sort of the capacity of people to act together.
So the SNF Agora Institute is designed to engage people in the contestation, struggle, and deliberation that make democracy work all over the world.
Democracy is at a pivotal turning point, that I would say, and that's not hyperbole.
This is a time when democracy could kind of make or break it. So the investment that Agora represents to bring together people who are brilliant across their fields to ask not just how do we fix it, but how do we first understand the problem better? To me, that's exactly what a university ought to be doing.
We're going to say, how can we build an evidence base around how to actually solve problems out in the world?
And so I think the SNF Agora Institute really merges the two, the scholarly world with the policy world, and tries to do extremely rigorous research that has applications.
Agora is central to exploring questions around democracy, but it is also central, I think, to the public conversation in ways that are transformative.
And all of these forms of interaction, I think, are likely to give birth to new ideas, new ways of tackling problems.
So how can we change the institutions to be more in line with this nugget of an idea of freedom and community and consultation?
Democracy is not just a set of rules, it's not just a set of practices, but it's actually a set of commitments and beliefs and connections to one another.
So this cohort of 8 faculty are really driven by an urgency to try to make the world a better place. And so having a building that is designed by a world-class architect like Renzo Piano, being created with principles of openness and accessibility, means that the building itself is going to model the values that are core to the SNF Agora Institute.
So the Agora Institute is a really exciting place to be. And hopefully this synthesis of these particular people will be able to provide this really sort of rich creative ground from which we can build something completely new.